Cinderella is definitely one of the characters that best represents all the best aspects of Nikke as a game, and that manifests in pretty much every facet of the character. Let's start, for example, in her role in the story. As most veteran players of Nikke probably know, and as newcomers may not be aware, Cinderella wasn't always the nice, wifeable crystal princess that she is regarded as today. In fact, she started as the complete opposite. Cinderella was introduced in the story of Nikke as pretty much the ultimate evil. She was Anakiro, the first heretic and the most powerful of them all. The sole reason that humanity not only lost the war, but their stake in the surface and had to move to the Ark. She was pretty much the devil of Nikke's world, maybe only beaten by the queen of the raptures herself. So she was not only just a villain, she was a major, like central villain in terms of both power and the atrocity, the sheer evil of her actions. And so, if anyone wanted to redeem such a character, they would, of course, need to put a lot of effort into it. Not only for that to make sense in the story, but to do what's actually the most difficult part, to have that be accepted by the fandom. And Shifter pretty much did so perfectly. First introducing her in the proper main story, and then slowly warming us up to the character by showing her being a genuinely great and admirable and lovable person, and like making us wonder, like, no, how can this person be the ultimate evil? Like, how can this lovable princess I'm seeing in front of me be the same one responsible for humanity's downfall? This doesn't make sense. And after, like, showing these two very contrasting sides of her and making us wonder how they could both fit in the same person, they then released Old Tales, one of, if not the best event in all of Nikkei, in my view at least. As it not only explains exactly what caused this change, but in a way that makes sense, develops the world of Nikkei, and even explains a couple of other things not related only to Cinderella and her story, as well as in a way that, again, was pretty much designed to be accepted by the fandom. Like, it's just a masterclass in showcasing the slowness, the thoroughness, and the genuine effort you have to make if you want to forgive, especially such a major villain like this. But I'm being a bit vague about it, right? Like, you understand that at first they establish her in one way and then subverted that image that we had in the story, in the actual showcased actions of the character. But how did they explain this change and redeem her exactly? Well, that's the best part. They didn't. Not yet, anyway. Now, what do I mean? Well, what happened is that essentially Cinderella and Anakiro seem like totally different people because they are totally different people. Anakiro is the corrupted version of Cinderella. It's pretty much her under mind control by the Raptures. And so Cinderella really wasn't in control of herself. She isn't technically responsible for all that awful stuff that she did, which explains how she can be such a good person when we meet her, but still have committed that atrocity. And you might wonder, oh, so there's a cop out. Oh, she was totally not a villain, guys. She was just being mind controlled. Like, what a stupid explanation, right? But no, Nikkei avoids even that by making it so that even with this explanation, this does not forgive Cinderella in the eyes of the universe. Like even when she shows that she's not like violent anymore to people, the people who didn't come across this explanation, that don't know that she was corrupted, don't believe her. Even her best friends don't believe her. And why would they? From their perspective, they saw a person that they loved like brutally disfigured then, and then like totally change and say no, it's not my fault. Obviously they would be still mad, and obviously they would still be suspicious. And even when the truth is revealed to them, they don't forgive her immediately. There are still consequences. There's still that broken heart, that sense of betrayal that they feel even then. And most of the world doesn't even find this out. So even as we, the audience, are explained why she's not at fault, she still has to face the consequences of, even if it wasn't technically herself, what she did. And one of the best things about it is that she accepts it. She never like cries like a baby and feels like a victim. Oh no, why is this happening to me? Like obviously she has her moments of weakness, but at the end of the day she accepts responsibility, which is why her road to redemption isn't trying to explain to people like that she was totally not at fault and to shame them if they don't accept that, right? Her road to redemption is an actual road to redemption. Her logic exactly is no, I, even when not in control of my faculties, still did something terrible. And so I need to do something equally good. Like if I committed this ultimate sin against humanity, I need to do something spectacularly good in the other direction to then begin like rebuilding my image. Like this is the first step that they need to do in order to rewrite their history, which is the whole theme of Old Tales. It's such a brilliantly done redemption story that even someone like me, who has already expressed that I, for various bad experiences, genuinely hate this whole thing of, oh, defying the audience's expectations or whatever. Like, I still couldn't help but love this story because of just how undeniably amazing what the Shift Up team achieved here. I know I may be glazing this too much, but it's, at least from my personal perspective, right? The best redemption story I've ever seen. Again, like I said in the whole like mass-produced Nikke's video, obviously there are better redemption stories that were written both in the past and today that I'm simply not aware of. Again, this is all from a personal perspective. I'm not saying anything objective, but from what I've seen, I can imagine very few redemption stories as good as hers. And so it just showcases this strength of Nikke's storytelling, of being able to take such a concept that many other stories fail to even execute well and do so masterfully. But her role in the story is not the only reason Cinderella, and by extension Nikke, is so amazing, obviously. Her personality is also a big part of that. Now, Cinderella is a character that many misunderstand as being vain because she's always talking about beauty and always like equating this admiration that she sees in the goddess squad as being like beautiful, and always wanting to keep herself beautiful in the sense of her hair organized or her body like attractive or her face cute, etc. So a lot of people think that she is a pretty vain character. But again, one of the other great strengths of Nikke is that it can take these like cliche and superficial personalities and develop them in a way that still keeps their core aspects, but again, just executes them masterfully. So, how is that done in the sense of her personality? Well, simply put, While Cinderella is obviously a character obsessed with beauty to the point where even I can find it annoying sometimes as much as I like the character, and so I don't blame anyone for also being annoyed at that. But the beauty she talks about is simply admirable characteristics. And it's interesting because not the usual subversion of, oh, she actually can see the beauty from within, that's the beauty that she's talking about. No, obviously she also cares about an outwardly beauty, and she makes that very clear with her dialogue. However, it's not only that. She cares about both the external beauty and the internal beauty. So much that she can find even what's externally repulsive beautiful, and can think something is not beautiful even if they are outwardly like attractive in some way. And so her concept of beauty is more akin to admiration in all aspects. She does care about physical beauty, of course, but it's again more than that. Beauty means something much deeper and much more like significant to her than simple physical appearance. And nothing shows this best than the way she sees Abe or Grave, which is it's difficult to describe because now you know what, I will just refer to Grave as everyone refers to her. She's pretty much Cinderella's mother, right? And due to this worry, due to like thinking that Cinderella has such an appreciation and places such a sense of importance on someone being beautiful, she who has a pretty like messed up body with a lot of scars, etc., and a very disfigured face due to initially at least due to experiments performed on her, initially doesn't want to be seen by Cinderella, which is why she wears her mask, because she doesn't want Cinderella to look at her in such an objectively ugly state. But when Cinderella takes off her mask and sees her, she doesn't care. It's still her mother. It's still the admirable person that has always cared for her more than anyone else. And she sees that and still thinks of her as beautiful, even despite her deformed appearance. And it just goes to show again how Nikke can expand on these more superficial characteristics without denying them. It's not a simple, oh, she can see much more than the external beauty. No, it's that, but there's something more to it. There's something deeper to it. It's not just the superficial, even if it does include it, if it doesn't deny that nature as well. And that to me is one of the best aspects of Nikkei. It's what I like to call well executed cliches, which I think are just as valuable, if not even more desirable, than a good subversion. Speaking of superficial characteristics, however, her design is also great. Now, obviously, a lot of people are going to disagree with this because, like, praising such an over sexualized, gooner, like, super exposed design is not considered very cool on the internet, especially if you don't use that usual argument of, oh, I know this is gooner shit, but there's more to it than just the gooner shit, right? But I don't care. Like, her design is amazing both for non quote unquote gooner reasons as well as for them. It pretty much perfectly represents what a goddess of victory should be in the world of Nikkei. And given that she's pretty much one of, if not the most powerful goddess of victory to ever exist, that makes sense. Well, aside from Lilith, of course, but again, this episode is focusing on Cinderella, so let's keep this relevant. Like, not only does she have a very curvaceous design, accentuated by her clothes, which both combine and utilize the best features of a very revealing leotard as well as a bodysuit. But all this combined with her usual instance, weapons, power, just coalesces into this perfect harmonical image of a beautiful fighter, of a real, again, goddess of victory. Incredibly powerful and at the same time incredibly beautiful and elegant woman, meant to not only save humanity but inspire them as well. And that's just her usual design. Her dress design, despite being sold and made through means that I very much object, like screw the very concept of a costume gacha, $60 costume gacha at that. But with those moral preoccupations aside, this is like very much one of my favorite designs in Nikke, because while you might notice Cinderella's eyes are red as a result of her long term corruption, you may see that in her dress design, her eyes are still blue. And that might seem like a minor detail, but that combined with like the beautiful and elegant appearance of the dress, as well as its crystalline, pure, and well, transparent nature, not only creates a very fan servicey costume, but one that represents, I think, her ideal self as well. Has This is how she sees herself, as a beautiful, pure, attractive princess with a genuinely good heart. This is who she idealizes herself as. That's who she sees herself as. That's how she wants to eventually be perceived again through her actions. It's even more than her usual Nikke form, I think, her mental ideal self. And this is pretty much more than confirmed by the burst animation, which, if you don't know, features exactly the red of the corruption being cast away in favor of the original blue of her eyes, and the focus on her face and dignified posture exactly to express that she this is her objective, to cast away that the sins of her corrupted self and be perceived as this beautiful princess that she, well, let's be real, genuinely is at the end of the day. There's also that new like mini dress design that was released, and like I don't have too much to say about it. It's not as significant or well made as the other ones. There's not too much to comment, but I guess I'll briefly address it just for completion's sake, right? And like it's not a bad design, obviously. It's cute and it's a more casual look. I like how her hair looks like down, like without the twin tails. I think the dress looks nice, and the overall image of a more casually dressed Cinderella is cute, and it's especially adorable, like that detail that she has on her phone of like the stickers with herself and Abe. Like that's just adorable for reasons that should be obvious at this point. So it's not a bad costume, but I just don't have anything too interesting to say about it, unlike with the other costumes. It's a solid 7 out of 10. Good design, just not terribly interesting. Now, from all of this, you might have realized that, well, she obviously cannot come even close to like true perfection. Cinderella is, of course, one of my favorite characters in Nikke. Like she is definitely up there on the top 10 or even top 5, depending on the day you ask me. She's a character I legitimately like a lot. Like I said, her role in the story is like just amazing, so much that it took a concept I genuinely hate and turned it into one of my favorite stories. Her personality is like it pretty much embodies my favorite way of telling a story. Her design is not only, again, super sexy and incredibly attractive in a very revealing and in your face way, which is how I like my fan service, sorry to say, but they can combine that into a genuinely universe fitting and into a design that is just sensible and cohesive and genuinely well made as well. So, yes, to the very annoying people in my audience who are obviously going to point this out, she's still Gunner bait. My point is that she's well executed Gunner bait. I'm going to have to deal with so many fuck annoying comments, ain't I? Whatever. Just, let's move on. This is supposed to be a fun video. And so that's why I wanted to talk about her, because not only do I believe that she's a genuinely amazing character, but she obviously is also one of my favorites as well. So yeah, this video was done both due to objective as well as personal reasons, of course. I won't deny that, and frankly, I have no reason to. I don't even think it's a bad thing. Don't know why I'm spending so much time on it even. I just love the character, which is why I want to make a video about her. Perfectly reasonable, I think you agree. And that will be it for today. If you like this video, please do all the normal YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, etc. And I genuinely do hope to see you next time. If you really liked it, I'd also really appreciate if you could support me financially, either through a one-time paid comment donation or by joining my membership, where for $1 a month, you get to participate in exclusive polls in order to decide which videos I'll make next. Like, which of my plans should I focus on? Which of the content I have in mind do you want to see first? That kind of thing, as well as get your name put in this fancy little screen right here. Just as a small gesture of appreciation, exactly for your monthly support. But of course, no matter how much you choose to give me, as well as if you choose to give me anything at all, do know that I really appreciate any cent you're willing to throw my way, as well as just the fact that you're watching this video up to this point at all. But with all that stuff out of the way, I think it's finally time to, as always, bid you guys farewell. Obscure Anime out.